Come with me as I begin my first solo journey through Japan. The airport limousine bus is a convenient way to get to the heart of the city and took me straight to my hotel in Shinjuku, an easy, convenient base that made getting around much simpler for a first timer. On my first day in Tokyo, I visited Meiji Jingu. It's a Shinto shrine built in 1920 and dedicated to Emperor Meiji and Empress Shokan. What's interesting is that it's surrounded by a man-made forest of over 100,000 trees donated from across Japan. The shrine is just next to Harajuku and Shibuya, but once you step inside, it feels much quieter. Visitors usually cleanse their hands at the water pavilion and write wishes on wooden plaques called ima. It was a simple, easy place to start as a first-time visitor. Just a few minutes away is Takeshita Street in Harajuku, a small but lively street known for youth fashion, street snacks and colorful shops. It's often crowded, but it's a must-visit in Tokyo. Before long, the crowds of Shibuya crossing came into view, one of the busiest pedestrian crossings in the world. I went up to a fourth-floor cafe to watch the movement from above. Just beside the station stands the Hachiko statue, a small but touching reminder of loyalty and a meeting place loved by many in Tokyo. From Shibuya, I took a short 30-minute subway ride to Asakusa, one of Tokyo's oldest districts. Here stands Sensoji, the city's oldest temple, first founded in the 7th century. The approach begins at Kaminari-mon Gate, marked by its large red lantern, and continues along Nakamizu Street, lined with traditional snacks and small souvenir shops. Walking through this path slowly leads to the main hall of the temple, where visitors pause to offer prayers and take in the atmosphere. One place to quietly admire Tokyo's winter evening is Tokyo Sky Tree, the tallest structure in Japan, rising 634 meters into the sky. From the observation deck, the city stretches endlessly in every direction, its lights slowly coming alive after sunset. On clear days, Mount Fuji can even be seen in the distance, but tonight the view belonged entirely to Tokyo. Opened in 2012 as a broadcasting tower, Skytree has become one of the city's most familiar landmarks. I ended the day with my first visit to Ichiran Ramen, which was absolutely divine. Day 2 began on the road with Fuji-san quietly coming into view. Our first stop was Lake Yamanaka, the largest of the Fuji 5 lakes located right at the base of Mount Fuji. The area is known for open views of the mountain, along with activities like boating and bird watching throughout the year. That morning, the lake was calm, with swans and ducks gathering close to the shore and moving slowly across the water. From Lake Yamanaka, the journey continued to Oshinohakai, a small village known for its 8 clear spring ponds fed by the melting snow of Mount Fuji. The water here is exceptionally pure, flowing slowly through traditional houses and quiet walking paths. There were many local delicacies here, and I tried mugwort mochi along with a freshly grilled fish cake. With clear water and traditional surroundings, it's a quaint and picturesque stop, not to be missed. A quick stop at the well-known Lawson, popular for its Mount Fuji view. The journey continued to Oishi Park, located along the northern shore of Lake Kawaguchi. This spot is known for its open views of Mount Fuji, especially during flower seasons where the fields bloom across the lakeside. While walking through the park, I stopped to try one of the area's well-known ice creams, a simple treat with Fuji in the background. From Lake Kawaguchi, I continued to Arakurayama Sengen Park, a well-known viewpoint overlooking the city of Fujiyoshida. The park is most famous for the Chureito Pagoda, a 5-storied pagoda that stands in front of Mount Fuji and is often seen in photographs of Japan. After climbing the steps, the view opened to a wide landscape of the town below, with Mount Fuji rising quietly in the distance. By evening, I was back in Tokyo, wandering through Omoide Yokocho and the bright streets of Kabukicho. These areas are known for their narrow alleys, small eateries, and the lively energy of Tokyo after dark. It was the perfect place to slow down, try a few local dishes, and take in the rhythm of the city at night. For the first time in my life, I was finally entering Tokyo Disneyland. Even before stepping inside, the atmosphere already felt different, softer, brighter, and filled with quiet excitement. The buildings, music, and small details all seemed carefully designed to welcome visitors into another world. Opened in 1983 as the first Disney park outside the United States, Tokyo Disneyland has become one of the most visited theme parks in the world. Walking through the entrance slowly, I could feel that familiar childhood sense of wonder returning, simple and effortless. Cinderella's fairy tale hall, hidden inside the castle. Off to Critter Country for more fun. Splash Mountain was honestly so much fun. Slow and playful at first, then one big drop at the end. Definitely one of my favorite rides in the park. Next up, more fun rides in Adventureland.
鳥から草原、いろんな動物がいますね。おやおや、あちらではかな、方たち。
This is the Mark Twain riverboat, inspired by the classic American riverboats of the 19th century and based on the original attraction in the Disneyland in the United States. It slowly circles the rivers of America in Frontierland, offering a quite scenic view of the park. Time to grab a quick lunch at Cafe Orleans. The parades are indeed a spectacular part of the atmosphere inside Tokyo Disneyland. The Haunted Mansion ride looked extra special with the festive decorations. I managed to get a dinner spot at Queen of Hearts Banquet Hall. The Enchanted Tale of Beauty and the Beast ride is nothing short of magical. As the fireworks lit up the sky, I felt quietly content. It felt like a dream come true, something my younger self would have thanked me for. I traveled from Tokyo to the coastal town of Kamakura. My first stop was Kyoto Temple, home to the Great Buddha of Kamakura. Standing just over 11 meters tall and weighing more than 100 tons, it has remained outdoors since the 15th century. Today, it is recognized as one of Japan's most important cultural landmarks. Just a short walk away, I arrived at Komachi Street, one of Kamakura's most popular shopping lanes. The narrow street is lined with small local shops, giving a glimpse of everyday flavors in the town. I continued on to Tsurugaoka Hachimangu, the most important Shinto shrine in Kamakura. Founded in the 12th century by the Minamoto clan, the shrine has long been connected to the history of the samurai government that once ruled this region. Today, it remains an active place of worship as well as one of Kamakura's most significant cultural landmarks. I couldn't miss riding the Inoden tram, a historic railway that has connected Kamakura's coastal towns for over a century. I walked across the long bridge leading to Hiroshima Island, a small coastal area known for its sea views and historic shrine. On the island, I visited Inoshima Shrine, a Shinto shrine dedicated to Benzaiten, the goddess of music, water, and fortune. The shrine complex is spread across the hillside and has been an important place of worship for centuries. The island felt quiet and unassuming at first, but there was much more to discover for those willing to wander a little further. Continued to the Iwaya caves at the far edge of Inoshima, which were shaped over centuries by waves and coastal winds. For a long time, these caves were considered sacred and connected to the worship of Benzaiten. Walking through the dim pathways echoing with sounds of the sea, it was a calm and fitting place to bring the day's journey to an end. The next morning, I began the journey toward Hakone, traveling on the Odakyu Romance car from Tokyo. This limited express train is known for its large panoramic windows and comfortable seating designed for scenic travel. I was fortunate enough to get a seat at the very front of the observation deck, where the tracks and landscape opened clearly ahead. Arriving in Hakone, the atmosphere immediately felt slower and more connected to nature. This mountainous area is known for its onsen, scenic valleys, and clear views of Mount Fuji on bright days. I stayed at a small inn called Hakonowa. The building was once a geisha tea house more than 70 years ago, and today it has only 3 guest rooms, each with access to a private onsen. The space felt quiet, cozy, and deeply comfortable. To begin exploring Hakone, I followed the well-known sightseeing loop that connects trains, ropeways, and a boat across Lake Ashi. It's one of the simplest ways to experience the region's landscape in a single journey. My first stop in Hakone was the Hakone Open Air Museum, an outdoor art space set against the surrounding mountains. Opened in 1969, it was Japan's first open-air museum, combining large-scale sculptures with natural landscape. The grounds feature works by both Japanese and international artists, along with indoor galleries such as the Picasso Pavilion. I stopped at Amazake Chaya, a traditional tea house with a history of more than 400 years dating back to the Edo period. There, I tried their warm, sweet amazake along with chikara mochi. I visited Hakone Shrine, an ancient Shinto shrine on the shores of Lake Ashi. Its vermilion torii gates and forested paths mark a quiet place of worship. The steps down lead to the well-known torii gate overlooking Lake Ashi, a quiet and striking symbol of Hakone. I boarded Hakone's famous sightseeing pirate ship, styled like an old European sailing vessel, to cross Lake Ashi. My journey continued to the Hakone Venetian Glass Museum, a space dedicated to traditional Venetian glass art. Inside, delicate glasswork filled the galleries, from intricate sculptures to finely detailed decorative pieces. What stood out most to me was the rose garden, where colorful glass roses shimmered softly. Despite the gloomy weather, the surroundings felt unexpectedly warm and elegant. My tour here ended with a delightful lunch at the museum's Cafe Terrazza Ukai. From the ropeway, I arrived at Owakudani, an active volcanic valley created around 3,000 years ago by an eruption of Mount Hakone. This rugged landscape is known for fumaroles and hot springs where sulfurous steam still rises from the ground. Though the strong scent of sulfur is unmistakable, this dramatic valley remains one of the most striking natural features of the Hakone area. The well-known black eggs here is boiled in the hot springs and said to add years to your life. My time in Hakone ended with a comforting tofu and yamaimo meal at a local spot, Shikajaya. I chose the green car for this journey to Takayama, and the comfort made the long ride feel calm and unhurried. Of all the train rides on this trip, this was the one that revealed the most beautiful scenery. Arriving in Takayama later in the day, I hurried to visit Hidakokubunji Temple and Takayama Jinja. Winter had closed their doors earlier than expected, so I could only take in the quiet beauty from the outside. Walking across the Nakabashi Bridge, a historic bridge that has linked Takayama's old town across the Miyagawa River for centuries. Continued into Sanmachisuji, Takayama's preserved old town lined with wooden merchant houses from the Edo period. Takayama is well known for its traditional sake breweries, so I stopped at a local one for a small tasting. It was simple, welcoming, and gave me a moment of warmth in the winter streets. And a perfect end to the day. The next morning began early with a quiet stroll through Miyagawa Market. It was still too early for the crowds, and the vendors were only just beginning to set up their stalls. Later that morning, I took a bus to Chirakawa-go, the UNESCO-listed mountain village in Gifu Prefecture, known for its traditional gasho-zukuri farmhouses. The quiet journey through snow valleys slowly led me deeper into one of Japan's most preserved rural landscapes. Our first stop was Ainokura in the Gokayama region, part of a UNESCO World Heritage Site known for its traditional gasho-zukuri farmhouses. Tucked deep in the Toyama Mountains, many of these steep thatched homes are built to endure heavy winter snow. Although the snow had melted away during my visit, the quiet village still felt timeless, preserving the gentle beauty of Japan's rural past. I finally arrived in Shirakawa-go, a historic mountain village in Gifu Prefecture. The village is home to more than 100 traditional gasho-zukuri farmhouses, with some of them being over 250 years old. Inside, it felt warm and inviting as the wooden floor is heated by a traditional sunken hearth set in it. Then, light snow began to fall across the village. In that quiet moment, Shirakawa-go suddenly felt even more magical, and I felt incredibly lucky to witness it. Nabe dinner as a perfect ending. After a quiet few days in Takayama, it was time to leave the mountains behind. I boarded the train toward Kyoto, where the next 4 days would unfold among temples, history, and the rhythm of an older Japan. The moment I arrived in Kyoto, I headed straight to Nishiki Market, often called the city's kitchen. I tasted fresh oysters, grilled assorted seafood, soft warabi mochi, and warm grilled senbei along the narrow street. The market was jostling with crowds and full of energy, but that sense of movement made the experience feel all the more adventurous. In Gyeon, I wandered through quiet streets before continuing toward the old slope of Ninenzaka. From there, I continued to Sanenzaka, where one of Kyoto's most iconic historic views quietly unfolds along the old stone streets. Ahead stood Yasaka Pagoda, Kyoto's pride. At sunset, I visited Yasaka Jinja, one of Kyoto's oldest and most famous Shinto shrines, founded over 1,350 years ago in the Gyeon district. Dedicated to Susanoo no Mikoto, it has long been an important spiritual center, and its annual Gyeon festival dates back to the 9th century. I paused for a quiet tea break along the streets of Gyeon, enjoying fresh strawberry daifuku with warm matcha. Night settled gently over Hanamikoji as I wandered past quiet wooden tea houses. That evening, I experienced a traditional Yudofu kaiseki dinner where each course was served slowly and with quiet precision. Seasonal flavors, delicate presentation, and careful balance turned the meal into something far beyond dinner. In Kyoto, kaiseki isn't just food, it's a cultural ritual not to be missed. The next morning brought one of the most memorable moments of my journey. My first kimono experience and a quiet tea ceremony in a small local tea house. Every careful movement, every gentle sip of matcha felt deeply personal. In that stillness, I felt truly connected to the spirit of Kyoto. I walked a short distance to Kiyomizu-dera, one of Kyoto's most iconic temples perched halfway up Mount Otowa in the Higashiyama Hills. Founded in the late 8th century, its name literally means pure water temple, inspired by the sacred Otowa waterfall that still flows on the grounds. The wooden main hall and famous stage were rebuilt in 1633 without a single nail, offering sweeping views of the city below. Recognized as a UNESCO World Heritage Site, it's been a place of devotion and pilgrimage for over 1,000 years. After that, I wandered quietly along the philosopher's path, or Tetsugaku no Michi, letting the calm of the canal sidewalk settle in. I paused for a warm lunch at a small hidden cafe, tucked peacefully away from the crowd. A stone throws away lies Ginkakuji. Known as the Silver Pavilion, the building rests quietly in Kyoto's eastern hills. Originally built in 1482 as the retirement villa of Shogun Ashikaga Yoshimasa, it was inspired by the Golden Pavilion yet never covered in silver, reflecting a beauty rooted in simplicity. On the southern side of Kyoto stands Fushimi Inari Taisha, one of Japan's most important Shinto shrines, dedicated to Inari, the deity of rice, prosperity, and success. Its most recognizable feature is the endless tunnel of vermilion torii gates, each one donated by individuals or businesses in gratitude or hope for good fortune. As the path began to climb Mount Inari, the crowds slowly faded, replaced by quiet forest trails and the soft rhythm of footsteps. The higher I walked, the more peaceful it felt, until reaching the summit brought a quiet sense of achievement. From above, Kyoto stretched calmly into the distance, and the long climb felt completely worthwhile. The day ended with a hearty katsu curry rice, warm, comforting, and deeply satisfying after the long climb. The third day in Kyoto brought me to Uji, a historic riverside town long celebrated as Japan's heart of matcha culture and traditional tea heritage. My first stop was, of course, for Uji's famous matcha treats. At a well-known tea stall, I enjoyed green tea soba and a refreshing bowl of matcha kanten, tasting the depth of this town's tea tradition. Next stop is the Byodo Inn, which began as a noble villa before being transformed into a Pure Land Buddhist temple. Its elegant Phoenix Hall even appears on Japan's 10-yen coin. Crossing the Uji River, the clear water shimmered beneath me, and the whole town felt quietly wrapped in the calm of tea country. A brief stop at Ujigami Shrine brought a quiet pause to the afternoon. Believed to be Japan's oldest surviving Shinto shrine and a part of UNESCO World Heritage listing, its simple wooden structures felt deeply rooted in history and stillness. Leaving Uji behind, the journey carried me onward to Nara. Todaiji in Nara Park stands as one of Japan's most historic Buddhist temples. Founded in the 8th century when Nara was the capital, its great Buddha Hall, rebuilt in 1709, is the largest wooden building in the world, and inside sits the massive bronze Vairocana Buddha, nearly 15 meters tall. The temple once served as the heart of Japanese Buddhism and remains a powerful symbol of ancient faith and art. The deer gathered eagerly for their rice crackers, some gentle and patient, others surprisingly persistent and cheeky. Their lively personalities brought a light, joyful energy to the ancient calm of Nara. Walking toward Kasuga Taisha, you enter one of Nara's most sacred Shinto shrines, founded in 768 and now part of the historic monuments of ancient Nara. Hundreds of stone lanterns line the forested path, and bronze lanterns hang near the shrine buildings, donated over centuries as offerings. Deer still roam freely here, believed to be messengers of the shrine's gods. The day ended in Pontocho Alley with a warm and irresistible bowl of kakiyage don. I started my last day in Kyoto at Arashiyama Bamboo Grove, a vast walkway lined with tall bamboo that sways with the breeze. The grove is one of the city's most visited natural sites, known for its calm green paths and quiet atmosphere. Along the path stood Tenryuji, a major Zen temple founded in 1339 and now part of Kyoto's UNESCO World Heritage Sites. Its landscape garden, designed around a central pond with the Arashiyama Mountains beyond, felt quietly breathtaking in its simplicity and balance, and is my personal favorite. I boarded the Sagano romantic train, riding in car 5, the open-air rich car. The slow journey followed the Hozugawa River through forested valleys, letting the scenery unfold quietly with the wind and changing light. After stepping off the Sagano romantic train, the journey continued toward Kinkakuji, Kyoto's famous golden pavilion. Set beside a quiet pond, its upper floors covered in gold leaf reflected softly on the water. Originally built in 1397 as a shogun's villa before becoming a Zen temple, the scene felt both historic and unexpectedly serene. My Kyoto tour ended at Ryoanji Temple in northwest Kyoto, known for its famous Zen rock garden. The garden's minimalist design features 15 rocks set on raked white gravel so that no matter where you stand, you can never see all of them at once. A visual puzzle that has captivated visitors for centuries. Standing before it, the quiet simplicity held my attention longer than I expected. Leaving Kyoto behind, I continued the journey toward Hiroshima. I arrived at Hiroshima Station in the evening, and the short walk to my hotel was easy with direct access from the station itself. The next morning started early as I left Hiroshima city behind for a day trip to Miyajima Island. The ferry ride to Miyajima is only about 10 minutes across the calm waters of Hiroshima Bay. Miyajima is best known for its Tsukushima Shrine and its iconic floating torii gate. Miyajima Ometisando shopping street was full of movement and energy, with visitors filling the narrow street and food stalls calling out from every side. It is a must to try the warm manju and freshly grilled seafood. But what kept me stopping mostly is the variety of souvenirs and pearl jewelry along the way. At Itsukushima Shrine on Miyajima, I walked among buildings that stand above the water, designed so that the sea itself becomes part of the sacred space. The shrine's most famous symbol is the huge vermilion torii gate set offshore. At high tide, it looks like it floats on the bay, and at low tide, you can walk right up to it. The whole design reflects the island's long history as a spiritual place where land, sea, and worship come together. Had a heavenly lunch before leaving. Leaving Miyajima behind, I returned to Hiroshima to visit the Peace Memorial Park, a place I had long hoped to see. Here, the eternal flame continues to burn and will remain lit until the last nuclear weapon on Earth is dismantled. Walking through the grounds felt deeply moving, especially seeing the thousands of colorful paper cranes left by children as symbols of peace. Up close, the atomic bomb dome revealed the remains of what was once the Hiroshima Prefectural Industrial Promotion Hall. Left standing in ruins near the center of the explosion, it has been preserved as a powerful reminder of destruction, resilience, and the enduring hope for peace. Inside the Hiroshima Peace Memorial Museum, I saw images of the city as it once was, vibrant and full of everyday life before the morning of August 6, 1945. At exactly 8:15 a.m., the atomic bomb exploded above Hiroshima, destroying vast areas in an instant and claiming tens of thousands of lives. Personal belongings, photographs, and survivor testimonies revealed the human scale of the tragedy. Walking through the galleries felt deeply harrowing, and the silence lingered long after I stepped outside. Before leaving Hiroshima, I had to try its famous oysters for dinner, something I had long hoped to experience, and it truly lived up to the moment. And of course, Hiroshima-style okonomiyaki is a must as well, and a perfect end to my Hiroshima tour. Himeji is a historic castle town in western Japan, best known for its striking white heron castle rising above the city. Himeji Castle dominates this old castle town with a striking white keep and layered roofs. Often called Japan's finest surviving castle. Originally built in the 14th century and later expanded, it stands as a classic example of Japanese castle architecture with its complex defensive design. Since I visited near year's end and it was closed, I simply admired its elegant silhouette from the outside. With some time before my train, I stopped by the small Himeji Zoo just beside the castle grounds. It was a quick, easy visit and a quiet way to spend the remaining moments in the city. From Himeji, my journey continued to Kinosaki Onsen in Hyogo Prefecture. This was the part I had been looking forward to the most in my entire Japan trip because I really love onsen. Although it was already the end of December and winter season in Japan, I had not seen much snow in the places I visited earlier. But during this train ride, I finally saw the most snow of my whole journey, which made the trip to Kinosaki feel even more memorable. I arrived in Kinosaki Onsen, a quiet coastal hot spring town in Hyogo Prefecture, known for its relaxed atmosphere and traditional charm. What makes this place special is its unique culture of visiting 7 different public bathhouses, each with its own design and character, all within walking distance of the town. Visitors usually change into yukata provided by their ryokan and stroll along the willow-lined canal from one bath to another. For my stay in Kinosaki Onsen, I chose a traditional ryokan that offered a comforting half-pot experience, with both dinner and breakfast provided. From the moment I stepped inside, everything felt calm and intentional. Tatami floors, soft lighting, and quiet views of a peaceful garden. Refreshing beverages, gentle steam, and a complete silence created a space that felt deeply relaxing after many days of travel. For my stay, I chose a semi-detached garden view room, which made the experience feel even more quiet and private. Staying in a ryokan means living in a traditional Japanese space with tatami flooring, sliding shoji doors, and a low table where meals are often prepared. At night, the room transforms as futon bedding is laid out directly on the tatami, creating a simple and restful place to sleep. That evening, I went for my first onsen experience in the town, dressed in my yukata and walking around the town in my geta. After a short rest, I headed out again to visit the second onsen of the evening. When I returned to my room, an incredible kaiseki dinner had already been prepared for me, truly a perfect end to the day. The Kinosaki ropeway climbs approximately 350 meters in elevation from the base station up toward the mountain above town. The ride takes you high enough to see forested slopes and views back down over Kinosaki Onsen, making it a popular spot for a quick overview of the area. Perched partway up the mountain is Onsenji Temple, founded by the monk Dochi Shonin, the figure traditionally credited with establishing the hot springs over 1300 years ago. In the past, visitors were expected to visit the temple before bathing. Today, it remains an important cultural site linked to the onsen town's origins and traditions. I then walked to Kinosaki Gelato Cafe Chaya and tried one of their well-known gelato. It was a light and pleasant stop before continuing the day. After a short walk, I came upon the Straw Craft Museum, where I admired the intricate straw creations that are a proud part of Kinosaki's local heritage. Time was spent wandering through the quaint streets of Kinosaki, passing small shops and traditional storefronts. Local snacks were sampled along the way, offering a simple taste of the town's everyday life. Fresh seafood appeared frequently, reflecting the coastal character and food culture of the area. The day continued with visits to 3 different onsens, each offering its own unique atmosphere with both hot and cold pools. Among them, the outdoor bath at Goshono-yu stood out the most, becoming my clear favorite of the experience. The evening ended with another carefully prepared kaiseki dinner, where grilled matsuba crab was the highlight of the meal. After many beautifully presented courses, the dinner finished with a light and refreshing serving of sweet melon. Soon after dinner, the futon was prepared, ready for a quiet and comfortable night of rest. The next morning began with a wholesome breakfast. Before leaving, there was one final walk through the town and one last onsen to quietly end the stay. It was a gentle farewell to a place that had been truly special. With Kinosaki Onsen behind me, the journey continued to the final destination of my time in Japan, Osaka. Arrival in Osaka came just in time to see the city softly bathed in twilight. Dotonbori was the first stop in Osaka, instantly alive with bright lights, moving crowds, and a loud, playful energy. The canal ran through the center, reflecting rows of colorful neon and towering signboards on both sides. Among them stood the famous Glicoman sign, one of the most recognizable symbols of the city. Everywhere felt bold, gaudy, and full of movement, capturing the fun and vibrant spirit that Osaka is known for. First street food I tried was takoyaki, a must-not-miss specialty in Osaka, crispy on the outside and bursting with flavor in every bite. Next was kushikatsu, Osaka's famous deep-fried skewers, and it completely blew my mind. Last was the famous melon pan paired with cherry blossom ice cream, and it was simply delectable. Began the next day with an early visit to Namba Yasaka Shrine in the heart of Osaka's Namba district. The shrine is best known for its striking lion head stage, designed to swallow evil spirits and bring good fortune to visitors. I then visited Osaka Castle Park, a large public park surrounding one of the city's most famous landmarks. I was also incredibly lucky to see a single cherry blossom tree already blooming. Then walked up to Osaka Castle, but it was closed for the year-end holidays, so I admired it from the outside. Its towering stone walls and iconic structure remain one of the city's most recognizable historic landmarks. Then made my way to Osaka Kaiyukan, one of the most famous aquariums in Japan and a place I had been especially excited to visit as a scuba diver. Located by Osaka Bay, the walk there took me past Temposa Marketplace before reaching the entrance. Even before going inside, the waterfront setting and the scale of the aquarium already hinted at the incredible marine life waiting within. Inside Kaiyukan, the route follows a gradual downward spiral designed to represent the ecosystems of the Pacific Rim. The visit begins through an overhead tunnel before moving past habitats that recreate forests, coastlines, and colder northern waters. Early exhibits include seabirds such as puffins, followed by seals and groups of penguins adapted to low-temperature environments. Further along, dolphins demonstrate the intelligence and agility of marine mammals in spacious pools. At the center of the aquarium is the Pacific Ocean tank, one of the largest in the world, holding thousands of tons of water. Here, two whale sharks swim slowly alongside manta rays, large sharks, and a distinctive sunfish, offering a rare view of open ocean species in a single environment. Additional sections highlight coral communities, deep sea life, and delicate jellyfish displayed in controlled lighting to show their movement. The overall design encourages a slow, continuous walk rather than a rushed visit, allowing time to observe marine behavior, scale, and diversity. For a scuba diver, it becomes not just an attraction, but a calm, educational look into the life of the ocean. The journey then returned to the city center for a visit to another of Osaka's well-known landmarks. The Umeda Sky Building is one of Osaka's most distinctive modern structures. Its two towers are connected at the top by the floating garden observatory, offering wide panoramic views across the city. A dramatic escalator ride through a glass-enclosed tunnel leads visitors upward to the open-air deck. From above, Osaka's skyline stretches in every direction, especially striking as the city lights begin to glow after sunset. The final day in Japan was spent at Universal Studios Japan in Osaka. I arrived on New Year's Day for a full day of fun. Using the express pass turned out to be a very worthwhile choice, making it easy to begin the day without long waits. The first stop was the Jurassic Park section, one of the most exciting areas in the park. Jurassic Park, the ride, delivered exactly what it promised, with dinosaurs, suspense, and a thrilling final drop. The splash at the end left me completely soaked, but it only made the experience more fun. The flying dinosaur became my favorite ride in the entire park. I loved it so much that I rode it 3 times. Perfect for any adrenaline junkie. Next came Hollywood Dream, the ride, and its backdrop version. Easily one of the coolest coasters in the park. Choosing a favorite song to play during the ride made the whole experience even more exciting and unique. Jaws the ride was very entertaining, though filming was not allowed. Then came the moment I had been waiting for the most, the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. As a lifelong fan of the series, walking into a life-size version of this world truly felt like a dream come true. The path first led through the Forbidden Forest, slowly building the sense of arrival. Soon after, Hogsmeade appeared, filled with snow-covered rooftops, familiar shop fronts, and incredible detail in every corner. And then, seeing Hogwarts Castle rising in the distance was a completely jaw-dropping moment, immersive in a way that felt almost unreal. Walking through the village awakened something very personal, as if my 11-year-old self had quietly returned just to experience this place. Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey was the main ride inside Hogwarts Castle, reached by walking through the detailed interior of the school itself. The motion-based experience blended movements, visuals, and familiar scenes from the story into one fully immersive adventure. Before leaving, the evening ended with a beautiful light illumination show projected onto Hogwarts Castle. The glowing colors and shifting patterns felt like a quiet parting gift, made even more special by the Christmas season. Japan's culture, traditions, food, and people remain deeply memorable, and I know I will return again someday. But for now, it's time to say goodbye to Japan and prepare for a new adventure in a different land tomorrow. I left Osaka early in the morning, carrying quiet memories of Japan with me. In just a few hours, a new chapter was waiting, Seoul, the final stop of this solo journey. I checked into Amit Hotel Seoul, perfectly located to explore the heart of the city. High above the city on Namsan Mountain, my first stop in Seoul was M Seoul Tower, guided by my friend who had carefully planned the next few days for me. Standing there together, it felt comforting to explore a new city not alone, but with someone who knew its quiet corners and hidden beauty. From the observation area, we watched Seoul stretch endlessly in every direction. A calm sea of buildings, hills, and soft winter light. Nearby, thousands of colorful love padlocks shimmered in the cold air, each one holding a story of memory, promise, and connection. Ancient stone walls and graceful pavilion stood close by, gently reminding me that even in a fast-moving modern city, history is always present. From Namsan, we headed to Myeongdong, one of Seoul's most famous shopping districts. The streets are known for Korean skincare stores, fashion boutiques, and popular street food that attract visitors from all over the world. We also visited Myeongdong Cathedral, Korea's historic Gothic-style Catholic cathedral built in the late 1800s, beautifully lit and decorated for the new year. We continued exploring the busy streets, filled with bright lights, popular street food stalls, and late-night shoppers enjoying the energy of Myeongdong. We headed to a well-known spot for sitbul dakalbi, a Korean dish of charcoal-grilled marinated chicken cooked over open fire. It was my first time trying it, and from the very first bite I was completely hooked. We then came upon the Seoul Winter Light Festival, glowing with colorful displays and reflections along the river. It felt magical to witness it by pure coincidence on a cold winter night. My first night here ended with a visit to a local pocha, a popular Korean street bar. Inside was warm and cozy, and we enjoyed tofu, stir-fried kimchi, and makgeolli, a traditional rice drink which I quickly grew to love. Day 2 in Seoul began with the honor of attending a traditional Korean wedding. I felt truly grateful to witness such a meaningful and intimate celebration. The couple's mothers wore graceful hanbok. The ceremony was beautiful and heartfelt. In the evening, we visited Naksan Park, a quiet hilltop park known for its peaceful walking paths and night views over Seoul. Following the old Seoul city wall, the softly lit trail revealed glowing neighborhoods and city lights stretching into the distance. We continued to Hongdae, the lively area around Hongik University, known for its youthful energy, street performances, cafes, and late-night shopping. I could not resist stopping at Olive Young for a little skincare haul. Knowing I love spicy food, my friends introduced me to jukumi, and I instantly fell in love. Continued walking through Hongdae, enjoying the youthful energy, bright lights, and lively streets all around us. The next morning began early as I changed into the traditional hanbok and visited Gyeongbokgung Palace, the main royal palace of Korea's Joseon dynasty, first built in 1395. The palace complex features grand gates, wide courtyards, and elegant wooden halls set against the mountains of northern Seoul. It once served as the political and ceremonial center of the dynasty and remains one of the most important historic landmarks in Korea today. Inside the main throne hall, Gunjeongjeon, the king once held state ceremonies and received royal officials. The richly painted wooden beams display traditional Gancheong colors, where red symbolizes authority, blue represents protection, and green reflects harmony with nature. These colors were used to express royal power and spiritual balance within the palace.
아닐걸? 그러니까 그냥 얹어서만 하지 않았어. 빨리 여기 잠자는 데로 빨리 편의점 왕 잠자는 데. 이건 근데 최근에 만든 것 같다.
We pause to admire Gyeongbokgung Pavilion, a royal banquet hall where kings once hosted important state gatherings beside a peaceful lotus lake now frozen in winter.
여기는
여기 들어온 게
어쨌든 이걸 처음 봤어. 뭐가 됐어?
그냥 앞에만 10년부터
The Gyeongbokgung Palace complex was vast, containing many different areas for royal life and government. Beyond the main halls were outer quarters, royal kitchens, living spaces, and the Queen's residence, each with its own role in palace life. We then headed to Insadong for lunch and a short walk through its traditional streets known for local crafts, tea houses, and cultural shops. At a traditional tea house in Insadong, we tried different herbal teas, each with its own flavor and aroma. They were served with yakwa, a classic Korean honey cookie, and everything tasted very good. In the evening, we gathered for our last dinner in Seoul, enjoying a fresh shellfish grill cooked right at the table. The meal was simple, delicious, and a meaningful way to spend the final night together before the journey ends. The next morning, I woke before dawn to leave Seoul, feeling I had only seen a small part of this vibrant country. With the promise to return one day, my journey through Japan and South Korea came to an end as I headed home.